All right, you guys, welcome back. I've got your weekly dose of what's the Hollywood, and I'm going to start with just a very kind of general, vague question, okay? My question for you all. Do you believe in life after love? Because I can feel something inside me saying, Cher definitely does, and boy, is she living life, okay? The music icon, 79 years young, and looking forward to actually walking down the aisle once again. So nearly 50 years after the end of her second marriage, the singer is reportedly set to tie the knot with her 39-year-old boyfriend, Alexander A.E. for short, Edwards, ahead of her 80th birthday in May, and that's happening on May 20th, okay? So the couple was first romantically linked in November 2022 when they were seen, holding hands out and about in Los Angeles. Of course, that got online chatter going, people speculating, and then just a few days later, after, the paparazzi got them, Cher defended their relationship after making things social media official. And despite the 40-year age gap, let me say that again. Despite the 40-year age gap and very loud and vocal online criticism, Cher does not give a hoot about the age difference and insists they're actually both really ready to commit, so much so that Cher actually shrugged off the criticism publicly when doing an interview with Gayle King on CBS Morning, saying, quote, "They're not living my life. Nobody knows what goes on between us, but we just have a blast. I just love him. I think he's beautiful. He's really talented. He's one of the most talented persons I've ever met." Now, I would try to do that in a Cher impression, but we don't need that, okay? But I think if they're making it work, for the past few years, who am I or anyone else to say don't get married? Do I think the 40-year age gap is a little much, a little too much time in between? Yes, but again, like Cher said, we're not living her life, so you know what? Go do you, girl. Get married at 80. Crazier things have happened in Hollywood. And on that same wavelength of Hollywood icons and legends, I did hint and allude to this, let's talk once again about Dick Van Dyke. So Chris Luzader mentioned it, and we're talking about it. He's turning 100 tomorrow on December 13th. Now, for all the youngins out there, they're like, well, that is reserved for Taylor Swift. That's Taylor Swift's birthday. This man right here, he came before Taylor Swift, okay? So it is Dick Van Dyke's day. That's all I'm saying. And he's revealing the secrets on how he's been able to literally make it this far in his lifetime. So there are two major things Dick Van Dyke gave up nearly 50 years ago that he credits for why he is still living, still dancing, still doing his Dick Van Dyke thing, okay? It is alcohol and smoking. Pretty obvious ones, right? So he gave up alcohol and smoking about 50 years ago. He did do a little stint in rehab. He's been open about talking about it. But the reason why this whole thing of what are the two things you attribute to living so long, it actually came up when Dick Van Dyke was speaking about working with, the one and only Walt Disney during a fun little shindig. He recalled that Disney smoked too much, and we all know that Disney did die from cancer. I think it was lung cancer. Don't quote me on that, but it was cancer, I think, due to the effects of smoking. But much like Disney, there was a point in time when the actor also smoked like a chimney, okay? During a high tea event, Van Dyke explained, quote, "I smoked a lot, actually. I think I was probably in my 50s before it dawned on me that I had an addictive personality. If I liked something, I was going to overdo it. So I got rid of the booze and the cigarettes and all that stuff, which is probably why I'm still here. And thank goodness, we love you, Dick Van Dyke." And much like Cher, Dick Van Dyke also has a pretty handsome age gap with his current wife. He and Arlene Silver have a 46-year age gap, and while he's physically slowed down, he says he still feels young on the inside, and as that saying goes, it's what's on the inside that counts, right? So happy early birthday to you, Mr. Dick Van Dyke, and I'm definitely going to check out that 100 years of Dick Van Dyke thing that Chris was talking about. All right, so earlier this month, the Dance Hall of Fame ceremony was held in Los Angeles, and the event saw the likes of many a celebrity, but I'm going to focus in on Channing Tatum, okay? So Channing attended the event to honor the late Stephen Twitch Boss, who was part of this year's inductees. So you might remember Twitch. He was, Ellen DeGeneres' like, not co-host, but he was her sidekick. He did the music, he did the dancing, he got the crowd going for many years before, you know, her show went off the air. And before Twitch actually tragically took his own life on December 13th, 2022 at just the young age of 40 years old. So Channing Tatum got emotional when reflecting on the bond that he and Twitch shared. He said, quote, "I promised myself I wasn't going to cry. I do this because Twitch made me laugh all the time. But to say that it is an honor to sit up here and talk about that man is an understatement, to say the least." The 45-year-old Tatum explained that he originally wasn't sure what to say about Twitch, adding, quote, "Because lots of people here might have known Twitch much longer or more intimate than I did. I got to work with him, and I got to work with him for a good amount of time." Now, if you're wondering where did they work together, they actually starred alongside each other in 2015's Magic Mike XXL, which of course involved a ton of choreographed dance scenes, and given Twitch's extensive professional dance background compared to Channing Tatum's, the actor was at a loss for moves. Here's what he said. "My brain just couldn't wrap itself around how this giant, big, beautiful man was moving the way he was. I was a bigger guy, and I couldn't fathom moving like that. And then he had to go and open his stupid mouth and be funny as well. I mean, that just really ticked me off. I was like, hold on a second." And then he smiles at you, and then you fall in love with him, and that was just Twitch. So a beautiful, you know, just commemorative moment for Stephen Twitch Boss. Okay, I've got a few quick bites for you before I take off, okay? Khloe Kardashian, I know, Kardashian, not many people care. You might be tuning out. But anyways, I gotta say, Khloe Kardashian is shooting her shot, as the high school kids say, with actually a high school teacher after sliding into his comments section. So people online going nuts over it. And I'm just wondering, could she be the first Kardashian to date an average Joe? The ball is in your court, Khloe, okay? Now, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift have reportedly settled on a wedding date. Oh my gosh. Multiple sources say the pair plan to get married on June 13th, 2026 in Rhode Island. Now, I wasn't sure of the date, but I kind of had an inkling Rhode Island would be the destination for this wedding because she has a house there. She kind of spends her downtime in Rhode Island. Anyways, as we know, Taylor's favorite number is 13. Her birthday is tomorrow, December 13th. June 13th happens to be her half birthday, and she actually cut a check to the bride who had already booked the venue for that date to get her out of there so she and Travis could get married. And finally, Miley Cyrus has given an update on her godmother, Dolly Parton, following all those recent health struggles. Dolly has told us she's fine, but Miley wants to add her 2 cents. She told Entertainment Tonight, quote, "She's always going to keep the show going. The show must go on. She's just excited to get back to work." And you guys, that's all I got for this week's What the Hollywood. Lots more fun coming up right here on Unscripted. Don't go anywhere.